abortion, which is frequently in the news. Many Americans think they are well informed on the issue. In reality, the education we've received through news clips and stories of protesters has obscured the truth. This tape will provide you with the medical facts of abortion. Let's begin by going over some of the terms that we will be using. The phrase products of conception refers to the fetus, the placenta, the amniotic sac, and the umbilical cord. The placenta supplies nourishment and oxygen to the fetus as well as removes waste. The amniotic sac is full of fluid surrounding the fetus. When women in labor say their water breaks, they're referring to the amniotic sac. The umbilical cord is a series of tubes from the placenta passing through the amniotic sac to the fetus. All of these products of conception develop in an organ located between the woman's hips called the uterus. This is a muscle-like pouch, about the size of the woman's fist. It expands as the pregnancy develops. The inside surface of the uterus is called the uterine wall. It forms a cavity where the placenta, amniotic sac, and fetus grow. The opening at the base of the uterus is called the cervix and is at the top of the vagina. The cervix is surrounded by muscle that is stretched or dilated to allow the products of conception to pass out of the uterus. Pregnancy is divided into 3 time periods called trimesters, which are about 3 months each. The medical facts of abortion will be explained by Carol Everett, Vice President of Life Network in Dallas. Carol owned and operated abortion clinics for over 6 years. Although in the past she actively marketed abortion, currently she speaks out against it and champions the cause of unborn babies. And now here is Carol Everett.
Hello. I'm glad you joined us for this inside look at abortion. You will not be subjected to any graphic video footage of abortion or surgery, no aborted babies. Our purpose is not to shock or intimidate, but to inform. By drawing on my past experience as an abortion clinic operator and using the technological miracle of ultrasound, I hope to provide you with a clear and accurate picture of what happens behind the closed doors of the abortion industry. An abortion is the surgical destruction and removal of a living baby from the mother's womb. Methods are as varied as the stages of fetal development. Let's begin by looking at the first trimester of pregnancy. At this stage, the mother will have missed 1, maybe 2 periods. The baby's heart is already beating after only 21 days. The untrained eye will detect very little that's familiar except perhaps the tiny heart, which you see on this sonogram pumping life throughout the child's body. The baby's body is soft and pliable, so an abortionist can easily bend bones and tear muscle tissue. Approximately 90% of abortions are performed in the first trimester. The abortion procedure used most often during the first trimester is the vacuum suction method because of the softness of the baby's bones and muscles. This allows them to be torn into tiny pieces and removed by the powerful vacuum suction. Here's how it works. First, the abortionist dilates or enlarges the muscle-like mouth of the uterus called the cervix using a pencil-like dilator. He uses a small tool, then a larger tool, then moves to a larger yet tool, a larger yet tool, finally ending with a dilator that will be the size of the cannula. Next, he inserts the cannula, a hollow tube about 8 inches long. This has a curved edge designed not to perforate the top of the uterus. As the abortionist guides the cannula along the inside wall of the uterus, its knife-like tip disrupts the securely anchored baby, pulling and scraping her from the wall. The cannula then suctions the child, sometimes whole, but most often in pieces, out of the womb through the tube and into the collection bottle. The abortionist continues to scrape the uterus, watching the transparent tube to make certain he's getting all the parts, including the placenta, the sac that forms on the wall of the uterus and provides nourishment for the baby during the pregnancy. When the abortionist and his assistant, who have been observing the collection bottle, agree that all the parts have been removed, the cannula is withdrawn from the womb. In addition to the cruel dismemberment of the baby, the vacuum suction method also poses some risk for the mother. The cannula, though curved at the top, can still puncture the uterus if handled improperly. Women also run the risk of post-surgical infection. The dilation and curettage, or D&C method of abortion, works most effectively in the early part of the second trimester, about 13 to 14 weeks, when the baby's stronger muscles and bones are less likely to break apart with suction alone. In the D&C method, a curette, a sharp cutting tool, is inserted into the uterus after suctioning to cut up any part of the baby missed by the vacuum. By the time the baby is well into the second trimester of development, she's roughly this size. The mother might feel her move for the first time at about 16 weeks. Her eyes, ears, nose are formed. Her tender scalp has begun to sprout hair. The abortionist's grisly task becomes more difficult at this stage. The baby's bones and muscles, much stronger and advanced, are more resistant to cutting and suctioning. That's why the saline injection or salt poisoning method of abortion was introduced. At about 20 weeks, the baby begins to actively swallow the amniotic fluid that surrounds and cushions her in the womb.